April 26, 1986. An explosion 400 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb shattered the night sky. Radiation levels soared to lethal heights, with some areas reaching 20,000 times the normal limit. Firefighters arrived, unaware they were walking into their deaths. Welcome to the Chernobyl disaster. Chernobyl wasn't just a disaster, it was a turning point. On that fateful night, Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant exploded, marking the worst nuclear accident in history. It exposed the flaws in Soviet nuclear technology, reshaped global energy policies, and left a 1,000 square mile area uninhabitable to this day. But how did it happen? And could it happen again? But how did it happen? The Chernobyl disaster was the result of a dangerous combination. A reactor with a fatal design flaw and a poorly executed safety test. The RBMK reactor used in Chernobyl had a major weakness. When operating at low power, it became unstable. Yet, on April 25, 1986, operators began a test that would push it to its limits, with devastating consequences. To make matters worse, secrecy and mismanagement plagued Soviet nuclear operations. Warnings were ignored, and plant workers were pressured to complete tests despite clear risks. What followed was a catastrophe that could have been prevented. At 1:23 a.m., Reactor 4 was running at dangerously low power. When operators removed too many control rods designed to regulate the reactor, it triggered a deadly chain reaction. A sudden power surge caused a steam explosion, blowing off a 1,000-ton slab of concrete. Then a second explosion, releasing radioactive particles across Europe. It's terrifying to think how one mistake led to such a massive disaster. What do you think? Was Chernobyl a one-time failure, or is nuclear energy still too risky today? Let me know in the comments. The evacuation didn't happen immediately. For 36 hours, 50,000 residents of Pripyat went about their daily lives, unknowingly breathing in toxic radiation. By the time they were told to leave, it was already too late for many. If you've seen HBO's Chernobyl series, you know how chaotic those first hours were.
What happened after?
The show does an incredible job capturing the confusion, the horror, and the sheer bravery of those who responded. But the reality was even worse.
Madness.
First responders, unaware of the invisible killer, rushed in without protection. Within minutes, they suffered severe radiation burns, many dying within weeks. Soviet officials downplayed the disaster, but radiation spread across borders. Sweden was the first to detect unusually high radiation levels, forcing the USSR to admit something had gone horribly wrong. The long-term effects were devastating. Thousands of cancer cases, birth defects, and an exclusion zone that remains uninhabitable. But Chernobyl changed nuclear safety forever. Today's reactors are designed with fail-safes to prevent another catastrophe. Still, the question remains, should we continue to rely on nuclear energy? If you enjoyed this deep dive into Chernobyl, make sure to subscribe for more historical disasters, untold stories, and shocking events that change the world.